Hey friends, so I've been working on my recaps of episodes 7 and 8, and frankly, I need a little break from that. So I decided to come and do a random chat video with y'all about a few subjects that I've been interested in. So here we go. So the ladies are back from space and people are pissed. And some of it, honestly, I understand because some of it is self-inflicted. There were, in my opinion, a lot of really missed opportunities there where they could have absolutely commemorated the last all-female spaceflight. They could have commemorated the ladies who made amazing advances in science back during the space race that enabled all people to be in space, men and women. For instance, do you all know about Hedy Lamarr? Check Hedy out. Isn't she gorgeous? So not only was she a glamorous Hollywood star, actress, model, icon, she was a science icon as well, an inventor. She invented a radio frequency hopping telecommunications device that was the foundation of modern Bluetooth. Her inventions also contributed to missile guidance and stuff like that that we have now, all of which indirectly contributed to the space race. So Hedy Lamarr would have been an amazing glam person, absolutely fit their mission to highlight on an all-women spaceflight. And another would be Margaret Hamilton. Isn't she cute? In that picture we just saw, she was standing next to a list of the program guidance codes that her and the MIT software team that she was working with developed together at that big stack. So she actually was part, like I said, of that team and directly contributed to us getting to space with her calculations and her coding. She was actually responsible of coining the term software engineering. Let's take one more look at her next to that stack of codes. So cool. There we go. Isn't that awesome? See, one of them could have done a recreation of that photo in space. It would have been so freaking cool, and it would have actually paid homage to the women of the space race, which as an all-female crew, I say lightly, you would think they would have wanted to do. So for a while, there were some insiders coming out saying that Katy Perry regretted stuff like this and holding up her set list and kissing the ground whenever she got out because of the backlash. But since then, it seems like she's coming out a little more defiant. And, people keep saying, oh, this is it. This is the end. Her career is over. She did the Dr. Luke thing, which I find way worse than this, personally. But maybe for to play a little bit of devil's advocate, which I don't really like, but maybe Katy Perry has information we don't know that causes her to disbelieve Kesha. But personally, I believe Kesha, and I can't understand why Katy worked with Dr. Luke. Anywho, that and this and the flop of her Woman's World video and song, that song is weird. And her tour, Katy Perry seemed in the past like she could dance pretty good. I don't know what she's doing with those robot moves, but whatever. I'm not pretending I can dance because I certainly can't. It's bad, y'all. It's really bad. We won't talk about that. Anywho, but between those things, there are a lot of people that are like, oh, this is it. This is the end. Her career is done. I don't think so, because anytime someone gets really intense backlash, what almost immediately happens is people start feeling sorry for them. When somebody gets intense backlash, almost immediately people start feeling sorry for them and minions develop on their defense, and it's already starting. We're already seeing articles start to come out defending Katy Perry and every single thing that happened. The thing that bothers me about it, honestly, aside from the missed opportunities, it's like that sucks, but it's not like a problem. But to me, it is a bit of a problem that Katy Perry has done campaigning in the past against global warming, carbon emissions, carbon footprint, stuff like that. This is like the biggest carbon footprint anyone could make. Most of us don't have the capability and never will have to make a carbon footprint like that trip. So that's a little, in my opinion. What do y'all think? Oh, and the whole, we're not taking up space, we're creating space. You didn't create nothing, girl. You didn't create nothing but a big ass carbon footprint. Come on. Don't gaslight us. Don't gaslight us. That's ridiculous. What do y'all think? Am I reaching here? Am I going too hard? Do I just find it annoying because I'm poor? Gail King said, have you been to space? If you haven't been to space, don't talk about it. And I usually kind of like Gail King, other than her Harry and Meghan support. I generally don't have a problem with her, but I was just like, woman, What are you talking about? What an out of touch thing to say. She actually stood there and said, "Have you been to space?" No, no, I have no intention. Most of us don't. We don't have the means, much less the intention. And we also, a lot of us know if we did have the means, that would be the last thing that we would spend the money on. Again, what do y'all think? Am I going too hard? Am I reaching here? And do I need more coffee? So another bit of random pop culture I've been following that I don't think I've ever talked about on here is JOJO SIWA. Y'all familiar? If not, here's a little rundown. She was first made famous when she was a little girl on Dance Moms. Dance Moms, if you're not familiar, was a dance competition show about a dance school ran by a lady named Abby Lee Miller, and she was not nice about it. This is the most famous clip. Oh, and by the way, you'll notice in this clip, JoJo is very small child, and her hair is bleached blonde. Her mom started bleaching her hair at like 2, 3 years old. It's crazy because she felt that was best for her performance in competitions. I so a lot of what JoJo does today, I feel like was very GROMED into her, but we're still going to talk about it. So let's take a look at one of the most famous clips of JoJo when she first entered the public eye as a little child. Okay, so here we go. And like I said, keep in mind that JoJo is a little child here, and her mom had been dyeing her hair since she was 2 years old. This is the most famous clip ever of her. Here we go.
Gia, do you know the order of the solos?
JoJo! Have you learned nothing?
Can you imagine that being the most famous clip of your life? Anyway, it's given her really thick skin, and she does things with that thick skin that a lot of us don't approve of, especially me. She has defended Colleen Ballinger befriending her when she was a little child, and Colleen Ballinger was in her 30s. It's weird, y'all. And she defends Abby Lee Miller, who we just saw screaming at her there, and a lot of things. So JoJo, obviously you saw her. She did the big bows, the ponytail throughout her Dance Moms era. And then her and her mom did a business selling those bows. They made a lot of money. Everyone wanted a JoJo bow. And then after Dance Moms was over, she went on YouTube. And they made a lot of money on YouTube. Big deal. But JoJo developed her trolling skills there. And that's why I'm watching the current drama and I'm like, is she trolling us? Back when JoJo and I think it was her brother were on YouTube as kids after the Dance Moms era, they did an episode where JoJo and her brother came on upset, crying. And I remember kids in my family being upset watching this at the time, saying that their dad got hit by a bus. All their viewership heart broke for them. So JoJo is back on and she's like, I'm sorry guys, we needed the views. He's not hit by a bus. It's a prank. And people were like, what the actual hell? She was still pretty much a child at the time. Let me see exactly what age she was. Okay, I just looked it up. She was 13 years old, so very much under the direction of her mom. In that clip that I showed where Abby Lee Miller was yelling at her, JoJo, have you learned nothing? The blonde lady that was shown, that's JoJo's mom. Yeah, it's weird. So about, I don't know, a year or two ago, JoJo came out and said that she's no longer doing kids content. She's going to do adult content. Absolutely fine. Everyone does it. Every child star especially said she wanted to have her Miley Cyrus bangers era type thing. But it's weird. Of course it's weird. Let me show you some of her outfits, y'all. So this is the outfit, and what's weird about it is that it's like she didn't actually change the nature of her style. It's glittery, it's dance wear. It is it's specific dance wear. It's not everyday fashion, and hair still very tight, updo ponytail type thing. Glittery makeup is just black. That's the only change. It's just black. That's it, So that was kind of weird. And then she continued doing she did these very adult themed things, like, very Miley style, grabbing her crotch during concert, taking shots of supposed fireball, which fireball. Sorry, having millennial nightmares here. In spite of, doing stuff like that at concerts, she was wearing outfits like this at the time. Not this. Let me show you. Well, I can't find a full on of the outfit, but yeah, the concert where she did that, she has teddy bears on her boobs and on her headband, and it's very childish. You know what I mean? It's very kid-like still, and it's just, ugh. I don't like it. But again, as I always ask, what do y'all think? Am I reaching here? Maybe I'm just off put by something that should be normal. I don't know. Okay, I had to take a recording break because storm warnings are going crazy here, y'all. I may have to take a break again. We'll see. Hopefully not. However, okay, we stopped at where I was talking about how JoJo made her change from kid star to adult star, but continued wearing kid-themed outfits while doing adult things in very adult ways at her shows. But it gets weirder, y'all. It gets way weirder. So along with her dancing and stuff, JoJo's always done some music. Not, super well known, but famous enough after being on TV that there's a following for it. And based on some of her live singing on her TikTok lives and stuff, it seems like it's probably auto-tune, but whatever. However, after JoJo announced that she's a lesbian, that she was dating girls, she came out on this podcast and announced that she wants to invent a new genre of music called gay pop. And the gay pop stars, since pop came out, all went, what? Do we not exist? But that's the kind of mistake that, very young people make whenever they're making new discoveries about themselves and stuff. I feel like there could be some grace there, She makes her mistakes on a much bigger stage and scale than everyone else. However, even with that, because of her history, I always have to wonder if she's trolling. Anyone who at 13 is told, guided, coached to pull a prank on massive amounts of followers saying that their dad got hit by a bus probably hasn't grown out of that when she's not renouncing anything about her upbringing. She defends Abby Lee Miller. She defends her hair being bleached since she was 2 years old. She's good with it all. I don't know if she's ever spoken about the bus prank since then. I paused the recording to look and see if she ever apologized about it. Apparently there was kind of an apology video right at the time. She was still 13 then, so let's just take a look together real quick. Okay, here we go.
Alrighty, well, I have to tell you guys, I'm very sorry for yesterday's video. I know it was a lot of clickbait, and I know some of you are mad at me, but you know what?
This part only lasted a few seconds. It was her and her brother in the original video.
As we were crossing that light, literally, I can't even tell you this, a bus just came flying at us. So now the bus actually knocked my dad to the ground. So now, unfortunately for right now, my dad is actually in the hospital. He got very badly hurt.
Yeah.
No, guys, we're just messing with you. We just want the views. So basically, this end of the story is we had no clickbait for the vlog. We wanted the views. So we made up a story about a near-death experience. We hope you liked it. So that could be like considered fan fiction, I guess. I mean, that's a good story.
I'm back from Canada.
That's my dad, and you're not at the hospital.
Yeah, a lot of people were really mad because, people saw the first part of that video. People were busting into tears and stuff. Oh my God, oh no, poor JoJo, because they cared about her. People care about people they follow, and that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing, especially for all of us creators. It shouldn't be taken advantage of. There's crying children. Okay, so I mainly showed that to set up the upcoming stories. I thought through most of this that it was JoJo being a troll again, and I still wonder if she could have gotten Kath, her ex, in on it. So let's go. So have you ever heard of Celebrity Big Brother UK? JoJo was on that show recently, and when she first got on there, an incident happened that made a lot of us feel sorry for her, including me. I'm like, oh, that's not freaking cool. Ugh, why are they even letting this boomer act like this? So what happened is one of the contestants that she was on there with is Mickey Rourke. If you're not familiar with him, let's pull him up. Okay, there's Mickey with JoJo. So Mickey started out the Big Brother experience with JoJo by making really horrible comments whenever he found out that she was a lesbian and she has a girlfriend. And he found this out by literally saying something like, "Do you like boys or girls?" She's like, "Girls." And he's like, "Yeah, I could tell." Then he told her, "If you're in this house with me for at least 4 or 5 days, you won't be gay anymore." And to which JoJo replied, "I can guarantee you I will still be gay and I will still be in a happy relationship." And like I said, everybody felt sorry for her. This was really uncalled for. It was very out of the blue. And then Mickey continued being horrible and said, "I'll tie you up." What does that even mean? Like a threat of violence, hostage situation? Like, oh, just a joke, whatever. But why would he even say that? It was really bad. So this guy who apparently is like a professional reality star, he goes on these shows. He's been on something called Love Island. Let's pull him up. Okay, so this guy immediately told Mickey, he was like, "Mickey, you can't say that. You can't say stuff like that, you know, blah, blah, blah." He stood up for her. At a point, JoJo started crying and he gave her a hug, kind of like let her cry on his shoulder. That doesn't seem bad. Seems normal. Then they got weird. They got really weird. Like they started sleeping in the same bed. They're literally laying in the same bed, cuddled up, and he's scratching her back underneath her shirt as she lays on her belly. I mean, they just got really strange, and people start speculating all over the place. Hey, what's going on? JoJo's partner, who goes by they, them pronouns, KATY, come out and defended JoJo. She made videos, you know, saying that everything would be fine, basically, blah, blah, blah. But as time went on, KATY went quiet. KATY went completely quiet. JoJo and Chris keep getting weirder and weirder in the house. I mean, literally start kissing each other on mostly the forehead and cheek. I think hit the lips one time, but just weirder and weirder. And then at one point, they decide to have a litter box experience together, y'all. I'm not joking. Let me show you. So they dress up in furry costumes, and I don't have an issue with anything that goes on in the furry community. I just have an issue with the way that teens have taken on this in high schools in ways that have affected the trans community when it really has nothing to do with being trans. Like there have been massive issues over teens demanding litter boxes in high schools. So I don't think this should be encouraged. But anyway, rant over. I support my trans friends, and it irritates me when stuff like this affects them and their rights when it has nothing to do with them. Sorry, I said rant actually over this time, y'all. Okay, so they decided to have a litter box experience. They put on these costumes and somehow on camera, without actually showing anything that I know of, I didn't go watching the videos because I don't care to see anything I'm not wanting to see. They use the litter box together and scratch and cover it up. Like I said, it was getting very, very weird. So KATY, they went quiet completely. Okay, this is KATY here. And like I said, since JoJo is a troll, knowing JoJo's history, I was still kind of expecting that this was going to end up being a big troll. JoJo, KATY, and Chris would all be at the end with the same energy that JoJo and her brother had. You know, we needed the views. But that didn't happen so far. What actually happened is Big Brother wrapped up. KATY took I believe it's like a 24-hour flight from Australia to London for the after party to surprise JoJo. She didn't want to be on camera, but she did want to be there. But she had some questions about what happened and wanted to know, like, basically, is this for the views? Are we okay? Well, JoJo got all kinds of irritated and broke up with KATY at the after party with Chris in the next room, and then basically went, I guess, kind of finished the party. And now JoJo and Chris are in a media tour, still being very hands-on affectionate. JoJo's wearing apparently one of his rings around her neck, but they're saying it's all platonic, just friends. Meanwhile, KATY is absolutely heartbroken. She put out a video saying, you know, she thought also that this was all going to be for the views, and she would go to the after party, she would get reassured everything would be good. And KATY also indicated that JoJo had asked Kath to marry her. Now, Kath is 28 and JoJo is 21. That's not a massive age gap, but to me, I just think if you're in your later 20s and your partner is in their earlier 20s talking about marriage, I feel like the responsibility is a bit on the older person in the relationship to say to the younger one, you need to be really sure that you're ready for that. But I don't know that Kath didn't do that. And whether she did or didn't, she still has a right to be upset about being cheated on. Okay, so now that we've completely explained the cheating scandal all the way to jumping forward to the end of the show and the after party when she broke up with JoJo, let's go back in time a minute. Remember Mickey Rourke that I told y'all about, and how he said, if you're in this house with me for more than 4 days or something like that, you won't be gay anymore? Halfway through her touchy-feely, platonic whatever with Chris Hughes, JoJo announced that she was questioning her sexuality. And then within a day or two, she announced she's switching letters. She is no longer lesbian, no longer gay. She is queer. She said, I feel so queer, so very queer. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the whole switching letters thing, it was very annoying to everyone who supported her whenever Mickey said, I will make you not gay anymore. And she said, that's impossible. And we all said, of course that's impossible. My God, what a ridiculous thing to say. Well, then it wasn't Mickey, but it was Chris Hughes who she cuddled up with, and suddenly she's not gay anymore. That's the kind of thing that it gives an example of why when you're brand new to something, you don't go saying stuff like, I'm going to be the CEO of gay pop. I'm going to invent a new genre, gay pop. No. What do y'all think? Now, a lot of people are defending JoJo because of her age, and I do get that. Like JoJo and Kath weren't married. They weren't committed forever that we know of, definitely not legally because they weren't married, and people have a right to break up. People are allowed to break up even if they were married. Divorce isn't illegal. However, there's a correct way to do that where you minimize hurt. Just literally having someone watch you fall for someone, or at the very least fall out of love with them as you get hands-on with someone else on international TV, is just the very wrong way. But again, JoJo is 21. We make mistakes when we're 21, and she's making them on a world stage. I still wonder if at some point this is going to come out and be a troll. It's going to be a massive troll that they were all in on, because JoJo's trolling has been so big and epic in the past. Whenever she was getting massive backlash for the gay pop thing, saying that she wanted to be, CEO of gay pop, or she wanted to invent gay pop, and everybody was like, excuse me, Freddie Mercury, Madonna, started naming off the Indigo sisters, Indigo girls, started naming off all these wonderful, amazing gay pop icons that apparently JoJo simply couldn't think of. She said at one point she was advised by her PR for one of her next upcoming, fashion event shoots where she would be photographed, to try and go classy, get pretty. And JoJo was like, no, this is not what we do. We want to get people talking. And this is what she wore instead. I don't even want to make these images too big because I don't know how YouTube will feel about them. But yeah, this is what she chose to wear, again, basically to troll. They wanted her PR team wanted her to go classically pretty, but this is what she wanted to wear. And there's nothing wrong with this. I'm just showing the nature of how she likes to troll. That's why I keep wondering, could they all be in on it together for the views? I don't know. What do y'all think? In Meghan Markle news, the Baroness of Beige went on a podcast with Jamie Kern-Lima. I'd never heard of her. Apparently she's a billionaire. She founded IT Cosmetics, which is really cool, actually. But honestly, she was about as boring as Meghan. Let's take a look, and because there's some weird things. There's always weird things whenever Meghan's involved. But let me show y'all some images from the podcast. So the first thing that I found is weird is Jamie Kern-Lima is mainly known for founding a cosmetics company that she sold for over $1 billion. Wonderful, amazing. But they decided to do the podcast makeup free. It's so weird. Meghan always does things backwards. And of course, there was controversy because Meghan has to find a way to flaunt that royal title, the one that she's not supposed to use. And Jamie Kern-Lima talked about Meghan sending her a basket of 2 pints of ice cream. And as you can see here, she sent it with a card that said, with the compliments of HRH, the Duchess of Sussex. Now, part of their agreement with the Queen was that they weren't supposed to use their HRH at all. But of course, they're twisting things and saying that, no, they're just not allowed to use it officially. And since this was a private card to a friend, that's not official. Therefore, they didn't do anything wrong, huh? That's their story and they're sticking to it. What do y'all think? It seems so weird to me that they would say that this institution is racist. It is, privilege. It doesn't treat people fair. It's this and that. But clearly, to it so hard, which brings me to my next point. Prince Harry just lost his bid for security again and is now on the BBC saying he wants reconciliation with his family because he's forgiven them. Oh, Harry the husband. Speaking of husband, a lot of people have been saying that Meghan Markle's jam reminds them so much of candles. Well, if you're a millennial or even a 90s baby, this might be the reason why. Does everyone remember Home Interiors and Gifts Company? Your moms would do the parties and it was kind of like Tupperware. They'd come and, oh yeah, we all loved Home Interior back in the day. But let me show you something. Okay, yeah, so for any 90s babies out there, you may remember Home Interiors and Gifts and these candles that they had. They were all kinds of different scents. These were very popular back then. Everybody loved them. Although I have heard that they were more popular in the South than in other parts of the country, but I don't know if that's correct or not. So yeah, even any 90s babies, you might remember those candles. And those candles were so popular back in the day. I loved the peach. Everyone else loved the baked apple pie that I knew, but I wasn't big into the cinnamon scent myself. But now that we've looked at those candles, let's just do a quick reminder. Okay, yeah, here's what the candles look like. Look at that shape of the jar and the lid. Okay, look, here's the original American Riviera Orchard one, same as the As Ever. It's the same jar. Like whenever I very first saw these, I thought, oh my gosh, did she find an old stock of Home Interior and Gifts candle jars? But yeah, I think that might be why so many people are looking at it and saying it seems like a candle. Because if you're a millennial, Gen X, a 90s baby, you would remember these for sure, the Home Interior and Gifts ones. People say all the time that Meghan seems stuck in the past with the different styles that she does, the cooking things. Like it's all very, very 10, 20 years ago. And I noticed another thing like that, whenever her and Jamie Kern-Lima were talking, Jamie said, I've been thinking about the rocking chair, the future rocking chair moments. And oh my God, y'all, there is so much in there, like deep breathy. I've been saying Meghan should just do ASMR and be done with it. Fall asleep with the Duchess. Tap, tap, tap. Deep breaths. Like, oh, she can't resist it. Can't help herself. I think part of it is because she got her acting 101 whenever her dad was being a lighting director for soap operas. I can't remember which soap opera it was. I want to say maybe Guiding Light or Santa Barbara, but she watched that as a kid in person as the acting was happening. And I feel like that's where a lot of her acting comes from. And she can't stop acting. Even whenever she's trying to be all authentic and real in a podcast, she's always acting. It's so obvious. What I was about to say is Jamie Kern-Lima talked about the rocking chair moment. And she acted like this was a new thing that she just thought of. I've been thinking of whenever I think about people, can I envision them in my future, in my old age, on the front porch in a rocking chair, playing a game, whatever. This is from How I Met Your Mother. Lily and Marshall had the rocking chair test. Does anyone remember it? Tell me in the comments if you do. I hope I'm not the only one. But yeah, it's just the old ideas that they put out there new. I think hoping they have Gen Z viewers that won't remember this stuff. What do y'all think? Well, I'm going to wind this up and get back on the recap, y'all. I will have those out soon. But on that subject, apparently Ryan is about done defending Gypsy. I saw some lives where, I didn't see the live I'm hardly ever on TikTok, y'all. I barely get on there. But thankfully, people catch it and repost it. I believe it was Flawless Nina that I saw it on. And holy crap, he is about done with her shit. And I've been getting all frustrated with Ryan and his wishy-washy, like, oh, Gypsy, I love her so much. I miss her. That was my wife. But I like this Ryan. I like this Ryan that's starting to find his backbone and say, enough is enough. That was some shit. He was looking around for stuff of hers to throw away some pillows. He said that he didn't understand why, if she was going to go and tell a magazine reporter that the D wasn't fire, why did she want it the morning she left? Ryan dropping the T. I love it. Loving this for him. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments, and I will be back soon with a recap, y'all. Have a good day.